Keys away.
Alright, we're good.
Are you on, John? You hooked up your volume? All right. We'll make sure everybody's on.
This is busy news morning around town.
I'm telling you.
Telling you.
Just housekeeping again, we will not be here on the 21st. We will not have a press conference. I'm going to be out of town. Try to get away. I think my wife and I are going to try to take a trip. But anyways, I will not be here on that Monday, so we will not have a press conference. But otherwise, we will see you next week. And the first thing we're starting out with, Chief Randall's swearing-in ceremony. The public is invited to attend. It's a swearing-in ceremony this Monday, June 14th, in honor of Eric Randall, who is to be sworn in as Chief of Police for the City of Pensacola Police Department. The ceremony will take place at 10:30 in Council Chambers, located on the first floor of City Hall. Right after this, at 9:30 next week, the ceremony will also be streamed at cityofpensacola.com/video. There will be limited seating capacity in council chambers. We will also have an overflow seating in Hagler Mason if needed, where the public will be able to view the live stream. Volunteers are wanted at this point for DIB and for the Library Board of Governance. I'm seeking volunteers for 2 mayoral appointments, one for the Downtown Improvement Board and one for the Library Board of Governance. The deadline to apply is Friday, July 2nd at 5 p.m. For more information on how to apply, visit cityofpensacola.com. We're always looking for good people to serve, and we have 2 opportunities. In the back are 2 people we certainly want to talk about, one of which at this point is going to be Amy Miller, who has been selected as the Deputy City Administrator. Again, this happened last week, but we didn't have a press conference, but Amy has been selected as the new Deputy City Administrator responsible for overseeing the city's enterprise divisions, including Pensacola International Airport, Port of Pensacola, Sanitation Services, Pensacola Energy, and Parking Management. Also in the back is Dick, who will be serving out his last couple of days here, trying to get Amy up to speed, and so she'll be ready to go. Glad to see Dick back there. Amy is currently the Port Director for the Port of Pensacola, where she has served, becoming the first Pensacola's first woman Port Director in 2013. Amy's first day in her new role will be Monday, June 14th, and the Deputy Port Director, Clark Merritt, will become the Port Director. Amy will replace, again, Dick Barker, who's retiring after 40 years of service with the City of Pensacola, which sounds like a lot until you realize at the retirement celebration the other day, his mother worked 48 years, so even she was a little down on him that he didn't live up to quite as many years. But 40 years with the city, we certainly appreciate it. There's no doubt that the city is a better place because of Dick and the contributions he's made here. Dick, we wish you the best. Don't change your phone because we're going to be calling you a lot. So thank you very much for what you've provided us, and we will miss you, but we know we've got an able replacement in Amy Miller. We want to talk a little bit about where we are on city yard waste pickup, and we're still running behind schedule. We are fast. I went out last Monday and toured with John, drove around and looked at different areas. John Pittman in charge of sanitation services, and looked at what we had. I do know we started out in April with kind of getting behind because of demand. In the middle of May, we also not only had a demand issue, but we also kind of had a supply issue in that we lost a couple of drivers due to related to pay, other stuff. We've hired some new drivers. Everybody's come on board. Last week, he got back up to speed, but we're like everybody else because some places have had shortages. It's given opportunities for people to take other jobs. It's given opportunities for us to hire new people. We've got new drivers on our pickup for yard waste. Again, this is not impacted in any way either our recycling or our garbage, but we do ask for your patience with us on our yard waste. We're getting that picked back up due to the increase in yard waste, as well as some of the issues we've had getting staffing. The City of Pensacola Sanitation has been running approximately 2 weeks behind the normal yard waste pickup schedule. Today, sanitation is finishing up on Tuesday route and is working on Wednesday route as well. The goal is to complete all routes and be back on schedule by next Monday, June 14th. Pensacola Sanitation customers can now keep up with their collection schedule through the Recycle Coach app. It's free to download on Apple App Store, and Google Play. So please, if you have the opportunity to get that app, we ask that you get that app. It's good. It tells you not only about what you're recycling, it can tell you and tell you where we are with picking up your recycling, your garbage, or your yard waste, and allow you to stay more in contact with where we are and providing services. It's one of the things that John's been trying to bring to us, so we can work through these things. But again, we've had a little bit of we had a significant increase in demand, and then we had a little supply crunch, but we are getting back on speed, and I was with him last week as we toured and look at that. We appreciate the public's continued patience and appreciate that during this time, and crews are working diligently to provide yard waste pickup. We even were working on Saturdays. We did give them Memorial Day off that weekend, but other than that, we've been working Saturdays. We were working this Saturday. By the way, there was a great Facebook comment. I really appreciate the gentleman who made that, talking about his guys out there and what they were doing. A brand new guy that was one of the new hires out there working. So again, we're out there. We appreciate your patience and working with us, and we're going to get to you. Again, this is only impacting yard waste. It's not impacting in any way garbage and recycling. Although last week everybody got delayed because of the holiday, we're back on schedule again this week. Bruce Beach Revitalization Project open house is scheduled. The City of Pensacola invites the public to provide input on Bruce Beach Revitalization Project, which will be a catalytic project for Pensacola's waterfront framework plan supporting the city's goal for creating a more connected public waterfront in Pensacola. We're offering opportunities for both in-person and virtual input. The virtual presentation and discussion will be Tuesday, June 22nd from 5:30 to 7, and the in-person will be an open house on Wednesday, June 23rd from 5:30 to 7 at the Community Maritime Park Amphitheater behind the Blue Wahoo Stadium. For more information, visit cityofpensacola.com. Public Works staff will help restore they did help restore the Marine Corps and Navy Pelicans. The City of Pensacola Public Works and Facilities recently rebuilt the bases for both the Marine Corps and U.S. Navy Pelicans located at the intersection of Palafox and Garden in downtown Pensacola, allowing the recently refurbished Pelicans to be remounted and restored for the community to enjoy. I've seen several comments online about that, so I know everybody's happy about seeing that back up there. The restorations were completed by representatives from the Marine Corps, the Navy, and the City of Pensacola crews built both bases, which included pouring concrete and assembling the timber posts for the base. City crews worked to have the bases ready for Memorial Day and a tribute to the Gold Star families and their Gold Star Marines and their families. I'd like to recognize the following city employees for their work on the project: Brandon Bergens, Derek George, Antonio Eichner, Eric Jacobs, Ryan Medcalf, Marzit Simpkins, and Gregory Warren. Thank you to those gentlemen. They do a great job. I saw several of them at the parade this past weekend, threw them a few moon pies. They do a great job, and I really appreciate them getting this up there. I know it was something I saw several people comment, Marines and Navy personnel comment how glad they were to see them back up in advance of Memorial Day. City Council workshop. The City Council will hold a workshop today to discuss local option sales tax budget plan. The workshop will take place at Hagler Mason Room, located on the second floor of City Hall at 5:30. So the council will be doing that tonight. Reminder of the resident survey, satisfaction survey. We are conducting our annual resident satisfaction survey and encourage all citizens and residents to participate and let their voices be heard. City residents were asked to complete the survey online at uwf.edu/Haas resident survey or by phone at 850-495-2666 by Friday, July 23rd. So we still have some time, but we certainly appreciate your voice and getting in there. We met, again, the numbers are continuing to be very positive in the sense for us of getting, I guess, negative, which is positive for us. At this point, the positivity rate is 2.94 for Escambia County. This is from 1.52 to 2.5 and 5.65. So again, we've seen continued declines in positivity, despite the fact we've had any number of events that have been happening publicly. Hospitalizations of the 3 local hospitals continue to decline. We went from 17, 19, 15, 14, 12, 14. So the fact that the last week has been in the teens, that's been the best we've seen. And this is in spite of having a number of things happen in in May, from Crawfish Festival. I don't care what they called it. It was still Mardi Gras in May, and again, certainly Memorial Day, and as well Fiesta this past week. So again, we are seeing the things happen. Mainly, again, the biggest issue we see is continued to be vaccinations. We encourage everyone to get a vaccination that can get one. They're certainly available. Hospitals are continuing to do that. I met with them last week. We discussed, and we are curtailing at this point any of our continued calls, because at this point they feel like it's well within their range to manage. It's certainly, again, COVID is not ever leaving us. It's not going to be leaving us, but it is going to be, our whole goal was to make it less virile, in a sense that the impact of what it was on citizens. We continue to see hospitalizations go down, mortality go down. So these are good things, and this is what we've been trying to force. I think getting the vaccine really has been the catalyst for this. I mean, if you've seen what has happened over time, and I've talked to the hospitals, we will continue to keep getting numbers during the month of June. But if we stay certainly in that green range below 50 by the end of the month, we will probably at that point ask them, quit requiring them to send in information. We very much appreciate there are 3 individuals who do an incredible job. They update me every day with numbers. On the weekends, we've gone to giving them a week on and off, so they sent it all in on Monday, which is why Kimmy was scrambling to get all the numbers put in over the weekend. But they've continued to do that now for over a year. And if we continue to keep going where we go through the month of June, that'll be over 3 months at under 30, under 50. So I've told them if we get to that point, then we can certainly sort of take that off and remove that responsibility from those individuals. I appreciate them continuing. At this point, the hospitals feel very comfortable about their capacity, not only to know how to handle COVID now, but certainly the numbers they're having, the positivity rates that are going forward. I think we're in a very good position. This comes into, I think, something that I wanted to communicate that came in here that we're seeing as well. I know that I got something from Matt today. Matt says on May 31st we had 5,000 people employments, 5,000 people for employments at Pensacola NAS. This follows the year before at 2019, which was our highest year ever at 3,828. On June 5th, we also had 5,373 employments, which compared to 2019 was 3,511. At this particular time, we were up 22.2% of what we were the same week in 2019. Nationally, air travel is down 24.7%. We see Pensacola for the weekend. This past weekend, Pensacola was up 40.6%, as compared to like Mobile that was down 10%. Panama City was up 82.1%. Fort Walton was 46% up. Tallahassee is 28.9% down. New Orleans is 23.7% down, and Jacksonville is 18.1% down. And again, National is 24.7%. So again, all of the places on the Gulf Coast are continuing to see very good traffic, air traffic, very good growth and opportunity. We're certainly experiencing that here, and the challenges that we're seeing here in Pensacola, dealing with not only these things are good things to have. We've got lots of business opportunities happening, but they are creating challenges for us on affordability. Again, I think as we move forward, the demand is there. For so long, we kept trying to figure out how to create demand for this place. When you see what's happened at Pensacola, Fort Walton, and Panama City, those numbers are all green, way in the green as far as being above what we were. That people want to live in, places people want to come to. We're still working on that, but again, we're seeing that all over, that people are coming to Northwest Florida. So the question we've got to do is how do we continue to do that, to keep ready for that. We work very diligently. But I can tell you it was great to see the past couple of weeks, several things that have happened. As I said before, Fiesta this past week, we had, again, I don't care what they called it, but it's still Mardi Gras in May. We'll be back to Mardi Gras next year in February, but it was great to have it in May. And it was great to have a Memorial Day weekend. We didn't get a chance to share this last week, but I thought it was so nice because typically Mardi Gras wouldn't have had the chance to have the Gold Star families as the marshals in a way because of such the distance between Memorial Day and what's in February. But last week sort of gave us that opportunity, and it was great to see those families recognized for the sacrifice that they've made in their service of the country, and it was great to see that. It was great to have an event on Sunday that was absolutely fabulous. It was great to have the bathroom working and functioning and having that in there, and I really appreciate everybody who was working to get that done. It's exciting to see what's happened. We hope that the group is looking, at my understanding, is looking at a long-term potential. So we hope that will work out as well. But at least it's good in the short run that we have a restroom facility. And wouldn't you know, Councilwoman Broughton said, we should have guessed that the board would give us something that was camouflage. So if they just had some sticks on top of it, you wouldn't even know where it was. It looks like the trees that are in the rest of the park. So again, it was great to have. I think Pensacola looks its best when we do our events for our parades, our military, a variety of things. And I think it's just great to see what's happening. Everybody feels good getting back out. And I would say a lot of that, the reason we're able to do that is because hopefully 40% of the people here have gone and gotten their vaccine. We really need another 40% to go get it to kind of help us get to where we need to go. But we hope that if you haven't had the vaccine that you will think about getting it and do that, because it really helps all of us. And to see where we are this year compared to last year is such a better place, and so many things are happening and moving forward. Happy to answer yours, Andrew.
It's a small one. Are you sure the Navy Pelican is back? Because when I was at the parade, I saw the Marine Pelican, but I didn't see the Navy one.
Okay.
Anybody know for a fact?
That's what I got, the one
Well, I
here.
saw the release, but then when I looked, I didn't see it. So.
Okay. We'll find out where the Navy Pelican is. Maybe it flew off, but we will find out what happened to it. So we will get that back up.
I didn't see it either. Friday. Yeah.
Yeah, this may be off subject a bit. What are your thoughts on the county now looking at Janice Gilley's contract administrator? It seems like, and going back when you were on the panel, it seemed like that the county went through administrators like a chemical through.
Well, it is a challenging part. There's no doubt. I mean, it's challenging. It's challenging for us here. We're a little bit different because we can't be elected, and so we answer directly to the people. But it's challenging when you have to get the majority of a board. That is a tough part. Again, I'm not commenting on it. I mean, they've got their own issues. We've got our own issues. Well, we continue to try to work with them and create what we need to. I can just tell you it's a tough place to work with when you have to work with those balances. And you're trying to move forward the whole thing. We've tried very hard. The exciting point to me was, at least in the city, when we surveyed about the way people felt. People generally felt the same way in all 7 districts, and I think that's something we prided ourselves on. Seeing Keith out there and the team, we've tried to work very diligently to reach all the districts and get the things that they need to get done. So we continue to work through that. It's a difficult task. I fully understand the challenges that those come up to, and that's why we just try to stay focused on what we're doing here at the city, and that's certainly hard enough in its own. So, but we work very hard to be trying to get things done in all 7 districts and make progress in all 7 districts. John?
I want to take you into the weeds here a little bit, but at planning board tomorrow, 1201 Cypress development is up, and what they're specifically looking for is this density bonus. That's sort of a new one you don't hear too much about.
We've had density bonuses for a
Could you
while.
give us a little history of that?
We've had density bonuses for a while that give people opportunities to do the things. They're the carrots that are in there. If they give us the housing that we're looking for, they get opportunities to have density bonuses. Again, from my standpoint, we're neither for or against any particular development. We're certainly there enforcing the rules, and the rules are there. The rules have been there with these things that have those opportunities. If they're providing what they're supposed to get those bonuses, and I'm not totally up on the whole thing, but I know there's a lot of consternation. I've heard people indicate. I will remind you, though, that was a multifamily location. I'm very familiar with that, as I told some people this past week. When I was in, I think it was like 10th grade, we had life skills, we had life management skills we had to do, and we had to partner up with somebody else, and we had a child, we had to go find a job, we had to find a place to live, and all this stuff within our budget. And I remember in the newspaper, I found that because I had to go over and take a picture of it. So I always knew where those apartments were in the bin, because that's where I was going to live when back in 1986. So again, it's been multifamily for some time back there. I realize this is a little bit different what's looking at than what was there before. But again, it just speaks to those are a number of multifamily units that we lost after Ivan. This is now 15 years, almost 17 years that we've lost those units, and we have the opportunity to get them back. I mean, one of the things we've got to do right now, we have to start building more stuff, because that's the only way we're going to keep up and trying to keep it from getting out of control on pricing. The demand is definitely here. I mean, everything we keep looking at, people are coming to Northwest Florida. We've built a community and a place people want to be. So that's what we struggled for a long time. Now we're struggling with, okay, how do we create enough for people to be able to be here, but also sustain those things we've managed to sustain, what was sort of that affordability for here, sustain what we had in our quality of life, and that's what we're working very diligently to try to do. I think that's why you see the city looking at projects that still deal with transportation, and not just cars, but also people and bikes. When you look at what's going on in the hashtag, when you look at what we're trying to do at Bruce Beach, providing those amenities. But I think a huge part of that is people want to be by the water, and I think that location is one of the few multifamily locations you have. As we look forward to what's going to happen out here at the Maritime Park, or even on the ECUA property, we're going to see things come about that will be different than what we had before, and they'll bring more people down here. We're just trying to be prepared so that when they come, we'll see what's happening. And I think the most exciting part we'll see when we get the numbers back from the census, because I think we're going to see significant increases coming in the city, and I think we're preparing to continue to see that. I mean, we're seeing population growth, property value growth. I mean, these are generally good things, but unchecked, they can become bad things, and that's one of the challenges we have with affordability. But from our standpoint, I mean, the rules are there. We simply enforce the rules, and so whatever happens. But I understand what's there, but we've always had density bonuses. If people build the kind of things we want to see them build, they'll be able to apply for those densities.
The Sanders Beach Neighborhood Association is expected to go to planning board tomorrow.
And we encourage them to do that.
Support the project with the caveat that they're concerned about the traffic loading through E Street and Cypress over there in that area. And they're going to ask the planning board for the city's support in traffic circles, roundabouts, some sort of infrastructure improvement to support that application.
We would love to see some improvements on Main Street from Clubs all the way up to Barrancas. I mean, that's something that's been in our plan and we want to see happen. We agree. Bringing in sidewalks, bringing other stuff in there. We'll certainly look at any other kind of thing. It's always interesting. It always sounds like a lot, but then you realize it's not as much as you think. I mean, it takes, yes, we've seen more traffic come in since the bridge has come in, but you got to remember that's probably 30-something thousand people coming over from South Santa Rosa. In that standpoint, this is 300 people that come and go. They may stay. I mean, so it's hard to say how much of an impact it will have. It was like, I still think. I mean, it's going to have an impact some on Saturdays, but I don't think you're going to be a noticeable impact of what happens with putting the soccer fields on Langley. I think people hear raw numbers and they get real concerned, and they don't realize what that means over time and what happens with traffic. You've really got to build up a lot to create a significant traffic problem. And the great thing about it is we have a grid. You have two ways in and out of there. You can go east, you can go west. So it's not like everybody has to go up East Street. You can go out the west side and go over to Pace and go out that way, and there's a signalized intersection there. But absolutely, if we need to do something to work with that neighborhood, we will work with the neighborhood to figure out how to handle traffic. Yes, Jeremy.
Can you talk a bit about, with demand increasing here, what can the city do to assure that, any affordable housing numbers are truly affordable, that the market just doesn't dictate that those houses become, or, units become average?
Jeremy, I think that's why you got to be figuring out how to be growing in what you're doing. It's a constant balancing act, and I think we need to be growing at all levels of price point. Let's say you say we shouldn't be building any more high price units. Well, sometimes if somebody goes and buys a high price unit, they're vacating a house that may be more affordable. I mean, you don't know where people are in their lifestyle and what they're doing, but if they vacate a portion, again, it creates movement. There generally other properties move up. I think we're very focused at creating affordability, but I hear what you're saying. I mean, if we don't create supply increases at all price points, I think we run the risk of seeing everything just continuing demand continue to push price up. So you're exactly right. I mean, I think we've got to see supply growth at all sides, but we're very focused at this point at creating affordable housing units, and that's what we've been doing. What we hadn't probably been as focused on is making sure that we're seeing growth happening at all price points, and I think there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, everything frees up. If somebody else moves in and they do this, it opens up the other unit somewhere else. So again, I think those are the things we need to be thinking at supply increases all over. I mean, that's what's going to help. The challenge is going to be construction is so high. I mean, that's the challenge that we're running into. Construction prices are just pushing things significantly. It's not just labor prices, it's also materials prices. I think some of the materials prices will eventually level out and abate, but right now, that's just what's made it so challenging.
Would there ever be a scenario where the city doesn't just encourage development, but actually develops and puts a ceiling on?
Again, I don't know, Jeremy, what may happen. I mean, we try not to speculate. We try to stay where we're going right now. I won't be here in 18 months, so I don't know what they'll do after that, but I don't think for the next 18 months we're going to reach that point at this time. But I do think we're going to find ways to encourage opportunities for people to do stuff at all price points. But there's no doubt we're in our 500 units. What are we, 150 or so?
Yeah, about
150 units in. So we got to create 350. So we are very focused on those 350 that we've got to do. We hired another individual to do it, come in and be a part of that. We're working to do what we need to get those additional 350 affordable units built. But we think affordability is kind of a function of doing everything. Interesting, one of the things that also is coming up, we have an annexation happening from the county into the city because of some property that the individual wants to do tiny homes. So we're about to see our first development of 7 or 8 tiny homes in a parcel that's going to get annexed into the city. So we're excited. I mean, these are all the things we're doing. So we're not just trying to find a different way. I mean, we're literally out there trying to figure out how to grow it every different way. And if it means annexing somebody into the city so they can build tiny homes, we're happy to do that too. So, that's going to be coming up this summer.
Where is that at?
It's the lot at its Pace, and I think Marino kind of curves. I can't remember. It's basically it's the same road you drive in on Marino, but it comes a block below it. And I can't remember whether that's. Yeah, I can't remember if it's Blunt or where it is, but it's on Pace right there. It's the old Baptist Hospital. There's a sign right there on Baptist on Pace. And that property is in the county, but the property just to the east is in the city, so it's adjacent to city limits. and the property is going to be annexed into the city, and we're excited about that. And the person that's got it is going to be building tiny homes, so we're excited to see that happen. Again, we will work with anybody. We put the tiny homes ordinance together here a couple of months ago. We are looking for people that want to create housing opportunities. We're trying to figure it out.
What's the definition of affordable? Like as per the 500?
I mean, the definition is what the mean, yeah.
Affordable is based on the area median income affordability, and so whatever that number is, plus the number of contributing members in that household. This is the HUD definition. The number of contributing members in that household to that income level. So if you have a family of 4, affordable is at the AMI, area median income, is about $67,000. There's a chart of those numbers that's issued every year. And we can provide that if you like.
Is that, I mean, is that possible, $67,000 a year?
Well, that you're looking at, that's a 2-family income. Then you'd have, if there was only one person contributing, it would drop.
Yeah,
I thought you were
income.
saying that was the price of the house.
No. He's saying the income. That's 35. That's about 35 per person, and having a 2-family income that would be anywhere from 30 to 35. So, because he said from 60 to 70, so that's what it would be based on.
Homes is if you're looking at like rent burden or income burden, the price
It's a certain
of the house
percentage
is
of-
about 140, 150, actually 160. It's pretty expensive, really.
So yeah, again, that's the way the affordability is calculated. But there's no challenge. I mean, there's certainly, I think what makes it more challenging is those individuals where there's only one family member that's working, and I think that's a significant. But I mean, I think we're looking for all options. I mean, I think it was the thing you probably heard, and it's one of the things that we keep trying to explain to even the people who seem to, as we're trying to work through to figure out, we still have challenges on each side of the thing, but we're trying to say yes, everywhere we need to be building housing. We need to figure out how to do it and what we can do. I don't think the government is typically good at building stuff, but I think we're good at finding partners and partnering and figuring out ways to get the carrot and incent certain things. We brought a lady on that's helping us in our affordable housing. We feel very good that she'll be able to take the funding that's there through certain grant sources and be able to figure out ways for us to get affordable housing out there.
Sorry to keep talking on this, but so like there's 150 units that go up so far, and those are like 160, 170. And
Oh, there's also no. Some of those are apartment units, and what they're leasing for. So I mean, Jeremy, it's everything. We're doing single-family house. We're going to do multi-family apartment. We're going to do duplexes, quadplexes, tiny homes. So it's hard for if you get too stuck on what's the purchase price of that, it's not going to work because we're also including we're in our 500 is not just standalone single-family housing.
Sure. But I guess my basic question is, so you create a unit of affordable housing. How does it stay affordable?
I hear what you're saying, and I think that's a part of it is that's why we've got to continue at this point where we have the demand surge where we've got to be building. We got to see building happening, and we just got to be smart about how the building gets done. But again, this is another reason why economically or ecologically, I think that again when you see multi-story building, we had a lot of this stuff when we were going to do what was on the Maritime Park, and people had a lot of consternation about what we were building. And I simply said, if you build up, you only disturb so much land. I mean, if you had made that all be single-family residential, you would be disturbing so much more land. You would be creating so much impervious surface. But if you build up, you by far you create a better situation for yourself environmentally, where you can see growth and you can still have a fairly neutral impact on the environment, and that's what we've got to be working for. We got to figure out how we can do some more of that and what we're doing to get where we want to go to, or otherwise it's just going to, like you said, it's going to price a lot of people out of the area, and that's unfortunate. Yes.
Speaking of housing shortages, talking to realtors, rental property managers this week, they say that the demand for vacation and accommodations in this area has exploded, and it's way exceeding the supply. And I
True.
see Ms. Miller back here. Could you give us an update on the proposal to put a hotel on port property over there in the parking lot area?
Yeah, we're still waiting for them to come back with a final plan. So I mean, it's
They're having the kickoff meeting with their engineers, the project's engineers, and the port engineers are having a kickoff meeting today.
okay. Well, that tells you where we are on that. So I mean, I know they were. It also comes back to, I think, whenever we've talked with them, the biggest challenge for them trying to get something done is parking. You know, this is why it comes back to, it doesn't matter where we are, John. I keep pointing it back to, parking is something we've got to figure out. We're going to go to structured parking. We're going to have to, because there's just not enough land and enough space to do this. So again, structured parking is good because environmentally, once you built it one place, you don't have to build any more impervious surface. You build it up. These are things we've been talking. We came over a year ago and we kept trying to explain to the council why these things are important. Structured parking is important. It's important that it helps create all these things. New hotels are important because of the demand that we're dealing with. New residential units, multifamily in any different way, are important. And if they're stacked on top of each other, we are doing so much better because we're not creating more impervious surface that we would be by single-family residential. Now, it is different for Pensacola. This is something different than we've done. But is it really, when you look at what's happened, Scenic Terrace, if you remember, I mean, the world was going to end over on the east side on Scenic Highway. I mean, how could we let a building go up like that? And yet now it becomes a functioning part. It's something people would never, they don't even think about. This is what happens so much when things get done. Before it starts, the world is going to end if these things happen. And then they happen, and then people are like, hey, this is a good-looking project. It's helped create better amenities for us and our community. It works out. It fits in great with the views and everything else. And now people couldn't imagine Scenic Terrace not being there. So I think these are the way things happen. But for us to really think about it, if we're going to grow, the way we can grow and do it the best way environmentally, we're going to have to start thinking about growing up some.
Is this a project at the port? Is there a parking issue involved in this?
There's-
If so, could the port build the port's an enterprise, could it build a parking facility and then lease it?
Well, at this point, we've asked the hotel in the original agreement, they had to park all their people, and they had to park all the people that were currently, if you remember, this is built over a lot that is currently being used for parking.
And it's also, there's environmental issues. They were still doing borings out there last
Absolutely,
week.
absolutely. There are some issues that are happening as well in that property from its historical nature. So there are a lot of challenges, but I know one of the big ones is parking because they got to figure out how to park all the people that are there. And so when you take a space that's being utilized for parking, it's not like you can't do it. It's done all over the place. It just means you got to go vertically. But vertically does cost more. But in the end, you have a much better project that you can create more opportunity. But like what I said here from the very beginning, I said the most important thing out there, I don't care what happens, take all the other parcels off, I don't care. The one that we got to get done is the one with the parking garage, because you won't be able to unlock the potential of everything else across there until you get your structured correct. Until you get your structured parking. Same thing is going to happen in the southeast corner of the city. The hotel wants to go there, but they're building on top of a parking lot. We've already got all those parking spaces promised. In fact,
Right.
this the hotel, the other hotel, the same group owns it. They got to figure out how to park their guests. So, it's just it's part of it, and what we got to figure out, and it creates challenges on pricing. But we got to have them. We've got to have more vertical parking structures, and they'll allow us to be more effective at what we do downtown. I'm convinced. I'd love to see more opportunity for us to find places to get vertical parking. I mean, it would be something. Structured parking is something that will help us in downtown if we can get to that.
Has the port discussed building a garage for this hotel development?
The port has not discussed. I mean, the port's, that's not their deal. They want to lease the property. We have a parking department. I mean, there have been some some discussions about what could be done, because I think there's some other development in that area that there may be the potential to find a way to work together. But outside of that, I don't know of anything that's been necessarily done. But I know when I talked to Lisa, she would love to see a structured parking deck in the southwest corner, which would be Maritime, and the southeast over there by the port, go northwest and then northeast. She'd love to see about 4 more parking structures. She feels like over time, but you can't build them all at once, and you got to figure out how you finance them. So all this has kind of been in the works, and it's all in the thought process, but it's just how it happens, and you got to get one started.
Is this something the CRA could finance?
The CRA certainly could be a part of it, but it's got to be able to stand on its own and what's happening, and eventually it's got to be able to, the parking itself has to be able to utilize and show what it can do. So I think we have that opportunity, but we got to get it started.
Sort of
the
what comes first thing.
You got to build. You got to get one built. Once you build one, it's easier to figure it out. Which is why, a year ago I said the most important thing is we got to get structured parking out there on the Maritime Park. Yes.
I wonder if you could talk a minute about Amy's selection as assistant administrator, and if that was at all indicative of the priority or what role the board might play.
Well, I'll say, the port certainly has a number of opportunities. What the port has didn't play any of that. We had indicated, because this is the first time we've really picked a position of that significance after I'd already announced I wasn't going to run. We were going to try to do everything in-house and work with that. We have incredibly talented group. We had 4 people interview for it. They were all incredibly good. We couldn't have gone wrong in any of the 4 we chose. We chose Amy because she was the best choice for us in the city. I think she offers a great opportunity. And I think if we had had an open selection that would have been a national selection, I'm not so sure that we wouldn't have also picked Amy. I mean, because I think the choice of her coming didn't have anything to do with the port or anything else. It had to do totally with her, and she was the right person for the job, and I'm confident she's going to do a great job. Obviously, there'll be somebody else at this podium in 18 months, and they can, they'll have to figure out where they put a priority. But she has said she's not worried about it. She said she doesn't want to necessarily be interim. She doesn't care. She's not worried about what happens with the politics, and I certainly can appreciate that. And I think it shows you the confidence she has in herself and her ability to get the job done. She certainly understands the port. She understands a little bit about all of those enterprises. She's learning more as it goes forward. So, and I'm confident with her as a leader. It was somewhat helpful also that I think Clark is going to be a great asset who's been groomed for a while to eventually take over the port. So I'm not worried about where the port is. I think the port will be in very good hands with Clark Merritt. And so it worked out in where we had those opportunities to bring those in. But those individuals are there because of who they are, not because of any necessarily department one way or the other. But I think Amy has showed her capacity by taking the port from once we really allowed her to effectively go market it as a niche, she took it from being in the red to being in the black and being very successful. So I'm confident she's going to be successful at what she does with leading our other organizations.
Who were the other 3?
We had John Pittman from sanitation, Yvette McClellan from finance, and Rhonda Denton from the airport. Yes.
Since we have Miss Miller here, I couldn't get caught up on port stuff. What's the latest on the Hialeah, South Florida boat builder that was coming?
My understanding is they are, and Amy, let Amy tell you the rest.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, part of the delay in getting started on the Streamline Boats project was the hurricane damage from Hurricane Sally. We've reached an agreement with our insurer for a cash payout settlement, and then we've reached an agreement with Streamline Boats on how those funds are going to be incorporated into their overall project, and they're ready to get started. They're in engineering right now. They've been on site actually beginning demo starting last week, and they should be moving forward from there expeditiously. They're very anxious to get up and running. They have about a 500 boat backlog of orders. They can only produce about 125 boats a year in Hialeah. This plant will have basically that same capacity. So they're very, very anxious to get up and running and start building boats.
Ms. Miller, how many jobs are we talking about currently at the projection?
Streamline will start out with 45 jobs in the first year of production. About 15 of those will be folks that will come here from Hialeah, but they will be permanently relocated to Pensacola. And the rest will be all new hires. And then they're going to build up to 100. But only those first 15 that relocate from Hialeah will be relocating. All the rest of that will be all new hires, and that build up from 45 to 100 will take place over 3 years.
Will those additional workers need any special training? Is that an issue going forward?
There are some special trainings that they're going to need, and my understanding is that Streamline Boats is working with Florida West and working with the technical college and other, and I keep always still wanting to call it Workforce Escarosa. It's not Workforce Escarosa anymore, but with that organization about training programs.
You said demolition. Is the building salvageable? What's going to happen with that building?
Oh yeah, it is salvageable, Andrew. They're going to go in. What they're going to do is they're going to take out some damaged portions of the roof. Some of the damage that was caused by the hurricane has to be torn out, and then they'll go back with their structure that will incorporate repairs from the hurricane and their improvements into one project.
Is there a timeline for expectations for when they might be able to start building boats?
By lease, they have 12 months from start of construction to complete. So basically depends on how you define the start of construction. I think it's actually defined in the lease, but I don't know it off the top of my head. But they have 12 months from start of construction. They're actually looking to try to advance that timeline. They are very, very anxious to get that project done and start making boats as fast as they can, simply because of the demand for their product.
So, end of the year, summer next?
I'd like to think maybe this time next year. We'd see a boat come out with the little silver plate that says "Made in Pensacola, Florida." Maybe this time next year. Yeah. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. And as our staff does, crack staff, they found the Navy Pelican and what's going on. But the Navy wants to do their own unveiling with their present staff and donors present. So much like we have for fire and police, sometimes they don't want to do the same thing. They each got to have their own. So apparently the Navy did not want to go when the Marines wanted to go. They want to do their own thing too. So we are going to do a Navy, but it has been restored. It is ready to go, and it's simply a process of us getting it timed.
Where is it right now?
Ryan must say it's a secret place because he didn't say exactly where it was, but he says it is ready, it is restored, and it is ready to go up. And we're just waiting for the Navy. I want to comment about we some of the other things that are that are going on as well. It's just it's interesting. We saw some of these things. That are happening this past week with having so many different events here. It's exciting to see what is going on at Pensacola, but it's a constant juggling act. It takes a lot of people working very diligently. I can't say enough and appreciate how much we had a lot of police officers, a lot of firefighters that are involved in public safety and dealing with what we do. We put on probably more parades, more festivals. There was some kind of race going on. Somebody was telling me that they were going down Cervantes, and it was all backed up on Cervantes yesterday morning. I went walking on Summit up to Jerry May Garden, and yeah, it was all there. But it managed. They said they came out of church, and there was nothing. You wouldn't even know it was there. So these things don't happen by accident. They happen because we have a lot of people working very diligently. Like I said before, I saw those guys. I'd seen them before that put out the barricades. Those barricades go out there. We had both parades. I saw several of those gentlemen sitting right there, kind of where Garden and Palafox come together. So I saw them there in their blue shirts. I made sure to throw them a bunch of moon pies. They do an incredible job, and I'm thankful for them. Every day, amazing things happen here, despite some of the challenges that we get faced with, because we have 800 men and women who come to work very dedicated to make a difference in this community. And I think that's exciting for me every day, just having the opportunity to work with them. I think they do an amazing job. And I feel very fortunate to be able to sit here and tell you what's going on. But while I'm sitting here talking, they're out there actually working and getting stuff done. So it's very exciting. One of those things that I will say that was exciting that we also kind of missed in the middle, I think it was in the paper today, Jim, about Orin International and what they were doing with their conversion over there with where they went to solar. This is a company that started out as a paper broker to a husband and a wife. Well, actually, it was just a husband. The wife didn't come over until he got so busy he had to bring her over. But they got into a bunch of things, redoing. They kind of take the niches dealing with paper, and they find ways to make it workable. And they're able to make a business out of it, and they're able to expand that business. And they have somewhere between 50 and 100 people working over there on Pace Boulevard. And not only that, they've put this significant investment into where they are generating 95% of their power. And I'll remind you that they have a day and a night shift. So on the night shift, they can't generate any of that power. But essentially, they've supplied enough power in during the day that they take care of about 95% of what they're doing. They said it was like 9,000 trees a year that as far as carbon, what they're saving by going to that. I thought it was kind of interesting since they're in the paper industry. They're saving 9,000 trees that they're cutting down at the same time, so it kind of gets neutral. But it's just good to see those kind of things happening in the city of Pensacola. And I think we find ourselves coming out of COVID. I said a year ago, if we can get through this, we're going to be in a very good position. We see our own local companies providing our own leadership like that. We see people wanting to bring their companies here. We see more people wanting to vacation here. We see more people wanting to live here. These are good problems to have, but they no doubt create some of the problems. This is why you've continued to see us preach about the certain things that we have, whether it's structured parking, whether it's better amenities for bike and pedestrian, whether it's more housing and dealing with the opportunity to go vertical and not just single family, but also have some kind of vertical. All of these things are going to be important to what we want to do as the future in maintaining the affordability that we have, the economic opportunity that we want, and continuing to manage the ecological part of our which I think we're getting so much better at. And when you see our waters and our air quality and what we continue to see happening. So again, these things are very exciting to see what's happening, but it is a constant work every day, and it doesn't happen by accident. It's because we have people that come here very dedicated to work to make it happen, and we're going to keep doing that, and appreciate the opportunity to be here with you guys. We will be here next week. We will not be here the following week. So if there's any other questions, if not, I certainly appreciate it. We'll see you next week.